One of the speakers actually said that people don't buy products, they buy stories. And India has over 650 such stories ready to be told in the form of the GI tag products. In your view, how big is this opportunity?
Okay, firstly, Sonal, this is a very, very big opportunity. The greatest thing that the government of India has done is it is promoting this with this kind of passion. But the point is, this opportunity is actually widening. And we have all of a sudden 658 brands in this category, as with GI tags. I think the branding side of it has been done well. We have the tricolor and we have identification. We have literally every state participating in it. With UP being in the lead now, Karnataka was number one at a point of time. We lost the race. But you know, it's great to see so many brands. But the width is not the only thing. The depth is missing at this point of time. And that is my core worry.
So if you were the brand lead for GI products, what would be the top 5 things you would do?
Okay, see, firstly, I'm going to take a look at it as my first day in office. And I would say, you know, like Trump did say what he said, I'd be radical. The first thing I'd say is stop the greed of width.
Sorry, the greed of?
The greed of width. Because,
okay.
you know, you're expanding by size. These numbers don't mean anything. 658 doesn't mean anything. That's the width.
Right.
We can get to something like 22,000 very, very soon if the regime of granting this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. I think we should just stop it at around 700 now and then start talking about deepening the presence of each of these brands. Because, see, we have to make success stories out of these. And the story must be felt by the 3 constituents. Please note, a GI brand is all about, yes, the geography, the place it comes from. The second thing is it's about the producer.
Yeah.
The producer of that local area who's so passionate about everything he, she, or they does. It's extremely critical to ensure that we give them what they deserve. And over a period of time, you know, this tagging and branding must contribute to bigger values. And I think that is something that I would be looking for. That's one. The second is, I'd isolate just 20 of these brands. Okay. I mean, starting with Darjeeling, of course, the favorite, the starter, the kickstarter of it all. I'd just take about 20 of them. Okay. I'd pick stuff like Araku coffee. I'd pick these 20 from different categories, different regions, so that, you know, we are not seen to be very...
share your favorites?
Yeah. I have a long list. I'm hoping my Davangere Benne Dose, which I just had this morning and came, is going to make it here. Okay. See, Davangere Benne Dose, if I take an example, for instance, you know, one, it's a product. It's the product called Davangere Benne Dose, which hundreds and thousands of people make. The second is the geography, which is Davangere. Sometimes I wonder whether Davangere is more famous or Davangere Benne Dose is more famous. In fact, the Benne Dose happens to be more famous. So that is important. And the third is the people who produce the Davangere Benne Dose with passion. Now, these are all local people. So I think we should be very restrictive. We need to say that the Davangere Benne Dose can be made only by a person who has origins in Davangere. Which means that in Delhi, at the Bharat Mandapam, if a Davangere Benne Dose has to be made, you have to bring a guy from Davangere. You know, at the end of the day, it enhances, you know, pride to say that only these guys can make it. And, you know, branding is really creating somethingness out of nothingness. And that's exactly what GI is trying to do. It's trying to create somethingness out of nothingness. That nothingness is the generics. And what we're trying to create is value. And value for the people who produce it, value for the geography from where it's produced, and of course the product. The third thing, I haven't finished my 5. The third thing is, bring in the Indian multinational corporation onto GI tagging. Now, this is going to be controversial. Don't worry about the Indian MNC. The Indian MNC has got routes to market which have been established for long numbers of decades. If there's participation from an Indian MNC for a start, let's say, and then I'd say open it out to the True Blue MNC from anywhere, whoever picks up anything which is totally GI tag, they are going to give us routes to market. They're going to make the successes happen. Therefore, I could be going behind one of the Araku coffee in India. I could be going behind it for the next 20 years, and I might still have a small volume. But if I tag on to an MNC, I might get a bigger volume. Okay? Which goes for jaggery, which goes for anything, which goes for my humble Rasgulla as well. And if you look at Haldiram's, I think they do great stuff for the Rasgulla as well. Yeah. And there's two more actually. The fourth one is actually climb Maslow's hierarchy. I think it's extremely important for us to appreciate that GI brands are traditional, they're local, they're India, they're heritage, but they're not small. Second thing is segment the market. Because, you have three segments. You have popular, you have bottom of the pyramid, and then you have luxury. There's no reason why a good from any corner of India should not be a premium good which actually sells for 2,600 rupees. It's origin specific, let's say. And the same good, maybe not the exact product, but a little less from the same area, will sell at maybe 500. And another good will sell at 250 rupees a kg. So I think climb Maslow's hierarchy. And right at top of Maslow's hierarchy, there are people who are self-actualizing. If you look at India today, the only growing segment is the top-end luxury segment. And a good with a GI tag to it, growing, fantastic. And the last thing is, again, a controversial point I want to make. This is my fifth one, which is to say, why only GI products? Why only products? Let's look at services. I'll give you an example. In the gold retail industry, there is a character called a Trichur salesman. A Trichur salesperson. And it's a man, sadly. It's not yet a woman. The Trichur boys, as they call it, they are supposed to be very unique in their skills and their ability to sell gold. Okay. And a lot of the gold retail guys look for them. Now, this is a service. You can get this in financial services. You can get it in N numbers of services. But these five are my dreams. And if I was handling it, I'd go behind each of these. Focus and then go behind the rest of the four.
Very, very interesting. But tell me one thing about, we're talking mostly about traditional products here. So how is branding different for, let's say, traditional products vis-a-vis other contemporary products? And also, I would also like you to harp on the power of storytelling.
Oh, yeah. See, a brand for me is a story well told. Firstly, my definition of a brand is a simple one. I define the brand simply. I say the brand is a thought.
A thought?
A thought.
Not a product?
Not a product. It's a thought. Okay. A brand is not a physicality. It is a metaphysicality.
Okay.
I was in Berlin recently. I was talking for 90 minutes on a subject on branding to a set of profs. A lady stood up and said, Prof, tell me, you speak so much about branding in English. Why don't you give me a Sanskrit word for branding? Why Sanskrit? Because Germany is the capital of Sanskrit in many, many ways. She looks at me. I scratch my head, think on my feet, and I say, ma'am, brand is Maya. Maya. And to an extent, that's so true, because the brand is Maya. It is here and it is not here. Bharat Mandapam is not this physicality. India today is not the physicality of the magazine. India today is the thought of India today. The moment you think of India today, you think, hey guys, these are reliable guys. The content is terrific, etc., etc., etc. India today is not every issue. India today is not its physicality. India today is the metaphysicality of India today. And therefore, a brand is a metaphysicality. A brand is a thought. So what do we want to do for GI brands? For GI brands, we want to create these kind of exciting thoughts in people's minds. Believe it or not, you can create exciting thoughts in just about anything. London, I'll give you a quick example. I was going up in Harrods trying to find the True Blue India product out there. I'm a True Blue Desi, totally patriotic about Indian products. I went up 5 floors. I found only 4 proudly talking about India brand. Okay, there was a tea bag. There was something else. On the 3rd floor of Harrods, I found pure Desi Indian mitti. Mitti, mud. Shehnaz Hussein's Multani mitti. Selling at the equivalent of 3,600 Indian rupees for 800 grams. Now that's branding. Can you take mud and brand it? Can you take water and brand it? Can you take sugar and brand it? Can you take anything and brand it? So creating somethingness out of nothingness. And that should be the power of GI branding and GI tags. But we need to add zing to it.
Very interesting. So into your mind, in your mind, so when we talk about metaphysicality, so what are the thoughts that should come to a consumer's mind when we think of GI products? Because currently, from the way I see it, you only see some poor artisans. I mean, a lot of these are the images that you usually see who are working in silos. You want to work and empower them, livelihoods, you know?
The poor, poverty, distanced. These are not images I really want. You know, at the end of the day, there's a huge degree of pride among everybody and anybody who handles a GI product. Anything that a person makes, they are so proud of what they make. They're panning salt, but they're so proud. In Gujarat, there are so many areas where people are so proud of what they do. So I want to give them back that pride. Nowhere do I want to talk about this business of distanced, you know, small, poor, affected. Yes, we are all that, but not that. I want to build the aura in it for everybody. And to do that, you know, I need institutionalization. I don't only need a certification, ratification, a label, the tricolor. All that is great, all put together. But I need systemic interventions. I need systemic interventions where I put together a cooperative society which looks after the interests of these people. And a regime which actually cracks down on anybody who is not following it. A licensing regime. And I want, you know, the smallest of Indian products from the hands of Indian people to get the kind of passion that an MNC can bring to it. And charge the MNC money. For every packet that is sold to them, license it out. Because they have the money, they have the big bucks. And I think we should do that. We should not stop that option. It's a big one.
Interesting. In fact, in the earlier panel, we had ITC and Tanera, and they actually spoke of how they are working a lot with those GI tag products.
No, it's great. All I'm saying is, dear ITC, dear HUL, dear Procter & Gamble, please walk the talk. Come out there and say that, hey, I'm going to open up my distribution system for 20 GI tag brands, which I will take. And I will pick carefully what I want. But the moment I promote a GI tag product, it means I'm not promoting my brand. I'm promoting the GI tag brand. And if I want to sell, if I want to stock stuff into that line, I have to go to the GI tag location and get it done. Now, this will create jobs at the local level, passion at the local level, institutional money flowing in at the local level, and big money is coming. Not anecdotal sets of monies going out to the people, not grants. I mean, our people at the grassroots level are very proud Indians. We are so proud, we don't want grants. Grants are so yesterday. They're so 2024. I don't want it. I don't want it. I want pride. And there is a route to get pride through the Indian MNC, through the MNC. Come to me, guys. Till now, you've been bringing in products from overseas and selling in India. Now, take products from the gut of India, from the mother India where it actually comes from. And guess what? Sustainability is coming back, right? As a practice. So, if you're really talking sustainability, I think you should be able to get out there and say that these are sustainable products. Look at the ESG goals around. And if you'll see, you know, every one of those verticals are represented by rural India. And I say there are 4 Indias. One is urban, the second is rural, the third is rural, and the fourth is very important for me, which is deep rural. I've just come out of Chetal in Amreli district, and I've seen a product called the Sanedo.
Sorry,
the Sanedo.
Sanedo.
The Sanedo.
Okay.
It's a terrific motorcycle. Put together with the Jugaad of India, very high quality, costs like nothing on earth. I mean, you know, it's just so low cost. And guess what? The Sanedo is a pride statement of Chetal in Amreli Taluka, in Amreli district of Gujarat. Lovely, you know, we have thousands of such products. But who's going to back them? I want that backing to come through the GI tagging and through the terrific initiatives that the government of India has put forth.
Interesting. So, you know, can you share any global examples of traditional products that, you know, are like success stories of branding?
Oh, yeah, many of them. I mean, of course, we start with champagne. I mean, we start with every cheese that comes by, every wine that comes by. These are big successes. But let me talk to you about a coffee. Coffee is my first love.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, I used to work in a company called Tata Coffee in the old days, and we launched 30 years ago. We launched a brand called Coorg Pure Filter Coffee. Okay, it's still there in the market, doing exceedingly well. Now, what is Coorg? Coorg is exactly what GI tagging is doing.
Yes.
You know the pride of Coorg that you take out. I was able to get a trademark for it. I couldn't get a registration for obvious reasons that it's the name of a location. But Coorg coffee is up there for the grabs. But look at it this way. I was shopping somewhere and I found two brands of coffee. One was called Maxwell House Coffee.
Yeah.
800 grams of it was costing $1.20 those days. And the same 800 grams, there was another packet, and that costed $4.40.
Okay.
Now, I was excited. I'm a marketing person. I want to know why $4.40. I turned the pack, and on it says, this is songbird-friendly coffee. Songbird-friendly coffee. What intonation is songbird-friendly coffee? It's got a label called songbird-friendly coffee. They have a songbird association there. It says, this coffee which you hold in your hands has been grown by Hussein Musevi, a small coffee planter. Small? Oh, small is beautiful. It was. This is 20 years ago, I'm telling you. And the second thing it says is, Hussein Musevi is not a greedy coffee planter. That means there are greedy coffee planters and there are benign, malignant coffee planters and good ones. Who's the good one? The good guy is the guy. All other coffee planters have chopped the tall sal trees which used to be on their estates to grow more coffee. So they're drawing more from the earth. Hussein Musevi is a tree-friendly character. He did not chop the tree. If he does not chop the tree, he gets less produce. He gets less produce, give him a better price. And it says on the tall trees,
Songbird.
live the songbirds. The coffee that you're holding in your hands have grown under the melodious tunes of the songs of songbirds. Please pay $4.40. Wow. Maxwell House is a multinational. Maxwell House is a multinational. Whereas Hussein Musevi is small. Small is beautiful. Schumacher.
Yeah.
I think I'm a big fan of A.F. Schumacher. Small is very beautiful. Small is pretty. But small must be promoted with pizzazz.
Yes.
Not with saying distant, poor, deprived. That's not the India language anymore. I think we need to talk different stuff.
Definitely. So then, on this note, tell me, usually a lot of times the stories of all the artisans are usually told through corporates or the social enterprises. How do we, and now is the time of TikTok, live streaming, right? Yeah. So how do we empower the artisans to, share their stories, and how powerful that tool can be? Oh,
this can be terrifically, very, very powerful. Let's talk the Kumbh now. Now, if you look at the Kumbh, there is an army of about 8,500 influencers who have landed up at Kumbh.
Yeah.
And they're going to spend literally 45 days out there. So they're not getting their parties in their big cities anymore. They're going out there. And what are they doing? They're capturing real life stuff that's happening out there. And they're going to be content rich. Now, the content that a Kumbh can generate can last one for 3 to 4 months. And that is what they're generating. And this is great stuff. Now, this content is not the snazzy visuals of the big cities that you and I live in. It is about real India. And these guys are taking a slice of real India and giving it out there. Now, this is beautiful, because if they can do it there, they can do it for each of our GI tag products, provided there's focus. It cannot be dissipated. Everyone must be talking those 20 products that we want to promote and give space in the stratosphere of brands over the next 3 years. Every GI category must have a business plan. The business plan must be supported by a set of manpower. The manpower must be supported by a bit of local linkage with the people who really matter. And there should be a strict regime. For me, the Davanagere Benne Dose cannot be made by anybody except a man from Davanagere. Okay? Same thing, I have lovely brands in my head. I've got a brand which I hope gets a GI tag one of these days. It's called the Gadbad from Mangaluru. I come from Mangaluru.
Gadbad?
Okay. Gadbad is an ice cream. No, don't think it's something else. But it's an ice cream. It's a delicious ice cream which costs nothing, like just about nothing. But if you go to Mangaluru, if you haven't had a Gadbad, you cannot get out of there. Now, what I'm saying is there are many stuff, there are restaurants which are favorites, an Arsalan and a Shiraz biryani from Kolkata. I mean, it's something crazy. I think you can create lots of stuff. A Paragon and Kozhikode, I think, has got products which can actually get GI tagged because it's got some very unique things. Essentially, I'm saying GI brands must create a need for themselves in the hearts of people, must become a want for the people who are willing to pay. A need, a want is something which is backed with money. It must become a desire to say, I have to have it. It must become an aspiration to say, I have to travel to Mangaluru to have a gadbad. And it must become a fantasy as well. The fantasy is my last addition because need, want, desire, aspiration, our marketing thinkers have already given it. 3 years ago, I wrote a paper in which I added fantasy to it. You have to add something to marketing to survive. So, you try to do that. Yeah.
No, this is very valid because in one of the earlier panels, one of the FPOs actually raised this point about how do you create the new market, where you are attracting all these new Gen Zs who are entering and are going to be the buyers in the next 5-10 years or so.
Yeah.
So on that point, when we talk of traditional products, how is the branding strategy, the storytelling strategy, does it have to be different for national level and international level?
Oh, yes. I think it has to be different. Okay. Now, let's first talk national. Because, these are small, little, tiny products of ours which come from the remotest corners of deep rural. Now, first, let's give them space in the big cities of ours and get them national. But, there's fantastic potential. You raised a very important point, Sonal, which is to say that, the young are different. There is this new generation which is coming by, okay? And anybody born in this generation is called the alpha generation.
Yeah.
Okay? So, a 15-year period, and by 2025, 31st December, the alpha generation is going to be the single largest living generation in the world.
Right.
And India and Indonesia are the two countries which will have the largest populations of these. Yeah. What is this alpha generation about? They're completely different animals. Yeah. I have one in my house. I mean, they look at me. I mean, I read 8 newspapers in the morning, and at the end of the day, I put all the newspapers down. My son walks by, and he says, cha, appa, go digital. Little does he know that I'm much more digital than he is. But the point is, go digital. These guys don't like you to be doing this kind of stuff. And guess what? They are very clued on to India. India pride and Desi pride is a big movement which is recurring once again. The young in this country are going to be prouder of India than the old have been. Yeah. And that's going to come out. I mean, I'm coming out of Punjab and I'm coming out of Haryana as well. Just 3 weeks ago I was there. The Desi Gabru movement is a big one. Desi Gabru, Desi Thekas. I mean, Theka. Okay, we also have alcohols in our GI tags. But I really say that the Desi movement is a big one. I think back to the Vedas is the line I use. I use this line in a paper I published recently. Why do I say back to the Vedas? The good old ways we used to do things are the best old ways. And the good old ways we used to do things are getting forgotten. The good old food items which we used to eat are getting forgotten and compromised. Sambar. The original sambar that you get in Tirunelveli, let's say, has got a total of 29 ingredients. The sambar that we make today in Chennai has got only 8 ingredients. Okay. So sambar is not only about number of ingredients, but the depth of those ingredients, the percentage of them. So you reduce ingredients so dramatically, the sambar is no longer a sambar. The real sambar is getting forgotten. Right. Nobody knows what the real sambar is. Let's get back to the original taste. Where will I get the original taste? Back to the Vedas. In many ways, we need to create the food Vedas back, the beverage Vedas back, and back to the good old ways of doing. Desi revival is big. Not only in that, but young people will want to dress more Indian. Everybody wants to dress more Indian. And I think that's great. I mean, we don't want to wear these kind of shoes here. I mean, I'm forced to wear it. I'm coming to India today, and the government of India is out here. I have to look decent. But the point is, I would love to wear a Kolhapuri slipper and come. And the Kolhapuri, it could be a GI tag, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at it, Desi revival is coming in. I'm again in Madurai, where I do a fair bit of work. I have another favorite out there, which is, there's a drink which you'll never get anywhere in the world, which is called Jigar Thanda.
Jigar Thanda.
Now, Jigar Thanda is a delicious drink. Now, I want a GI tag for Jigar Thanda, yeah? And it should be made by only a Madurai guy. I drink Jigar Thanda in Chennai, just not the same. So, if you look at it, all these dressing styles, professors in colleges in Tamil Nadu want to dress in dhotis and go out, okay? And they want to teach in that. And they are big scholars.
Yeah.
So Desi pride is coming back in a big way. The alpha generation, the young, are going to be doing more of Desi. So the GI tag is in right spot at the right point of time. Youngsters want to stay more healthy.
Yeah.
And what better, healthier way than the way we used to live? So I think, getting all that back is going to be it.
Very interesting. And you rightly spoke of the role of perception, because what if the kurtas become formal again for men, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they are for women as well.
Absolutely.
So, I see our time's up. So, last few takeaways from you on what are the top 2-3 things that should be top priority.
Okay, a top priority for me still remains the same thing. Don't harp about 658 brands, GI brands. It's tom-tomming that we've got 658 brands. Don't give up this game here. Let's get into deepening the presence of 20 brands. Take 20 brands as things which you should go about. Second, please note GI tags and GI branding is a journey. And the journey has just begun. And to boost this journey, the institutional mechanisms to back need to be there. And make them like local self-governance units.
Okay.
Let's bring in LSG back again. Okay. We need to be governing GI tags with local committees, like the old cooperative societies of yore. A Pochampalli sari comes out of Pochampalli. If it's a GI tag, let the local cooperative society look after it, and they will do wonders. And have the right kind of a committee, get them elected right, etc., etc., etc. The third thing is, of course, this business of giving pride to locals. Now, we need to take the pride back to the locals, because GI is a geography. So, you are making history out of a geography that was forgotten long ago. And this geography produces this best.
Right.
These would be three top things that I'd love to do.
So very interesting. And then that was really thought-provoking, and especially because branding has been talked of so much, in the earlier sessions. So thanks a lot, Mr. Bijoor.